traveling across Rajasthan in the wonderful Fiat Punto Evo. And if you caught the show over the last 2 episodes, you'd know that I've already been to Alwar and Mandawa. And today I'm headed from Mandawa to Dundlod and Nawalgarh. And I've really enjoyed driving this car. It's been an excellent travel companion. I like it more with every trip. So I'm all set to get behind the wheel. As I said, I've been driving the Fiat Punto Evo for quite some time now, and it's really grown on me. Even though it's a compact car, it feels really spacious inside. The seats are super comfortable. There's lots of leg room. I love the driving position. It's nice and high given the size of the car. It also has high ground clearance, which is a huge plus on the rugged terrain that I sometimes have to endure on a road trip. And the stereo system is particularly good. I love listening to my music while I drive. All in all, you're really set for a long trip in this car. Let's get rolling. The Fiat Punto Evo that I'm driving right now is the diesel variant. It's the 1.3-litre diesel and it churns out 93 PS, which is a healthy amount of power for a car this size. It's also nice and fuel efficient. It gives 21.2 kilometers to the litre, so that's nice and easy on the pocket. And my next stop now is Dundlod. En route from Mandawa to Nawalgarh is a little town called Dundlod, which I'm going to stop by to see its fort. Then I'll drive on to Nawalgarh, a vibrant town known for its painted havelis. Some of the finest frescoes in the region can be found here. Having reached Dundlod, my first stop is the Dundlod Fort. And this place is still maintained by the same royal family that built it over 200 years ago. It combines both Mughal and Rajput decorative elements and in fact even some European decorative elements. So let's take a look inside. Dundlod Fort is maintained by descendants of the family who built the fort over 2 centuries ago. It is the same family after whom the Shekhawati region is named. Paintings in the Diwan-e-Khas depict the royals of the family. This is the Duchhatta above the Diwan-e-Khas, and Duchhatta means the second level terrace. So it's essentially an elevated area that surrounds the Diwan-e-Khas from which one could look into the Diwan-e-Khas and observe the proceedings happening there. So this was the Zinana. It was where the women of the house would gather to take a look at what was going on in the Diwan-e-Khas, overlooking and overhearing the meetings. And it's interesting how even architecturally the gender dynamics of that time are reflected. After a pit stop in Dundlod to check out the Dundlod Fort, I've now arrived in Nawalgarh and my first stop is the Uttara Haveli, also known as the Morarka Haveli. And it's a truly extraordinary example of Shekhawati art. Just look at how intricate the frescoes are. The walls are painted with so much detail. The doors are also beautiful. They're wood-carved doors. There's also some stunning examples of mirror work. All in all, it's truly an extraordinary example of the artwork of the region. The other frescoes and paintings in this Haveli depict scenes of royal processions, folk heroes and several scenes of Radha and Krishna. After visiting the Uttara Haveli, I've come to visit the Podar Haveli. and it's one of the most well-kept Havelis in the region. It's also among the largest and most impressive. Let's check it out. I'm seated in the Baitak of the Podar Haveli. Now, the word Haveli itself actually conveys so much about the nature of the architecture. Haveli comes from a Persian word that is derived from a combination of Hava and Vali. So it essentially means a space full of wind. And that's a very apt description because the central open courtyard allows for so much cross ventilation. And the central courtyard is the area exclusively for the interactions of the men and the visitors of the house, whereas the interior, which is partly where I'm seated, as well as the elevated zinana above it, was for the family and for the women. And then behind that is the area for the servants and also stables for animals as well as toilets. So it's very strategic architecturally. But my favorite part, of course, are the frescoes. The frescoes and murals here are incredible. Let's take a look. The Podar Haveli is another magnificent example of the artistry and craftsmanship of the Shekhawati region. Now, the subject matter of the frescoes here will take either of three categories. It's either descriptive or decorative or portraiture. And descriptive entails stories from the epics, so you'll see scenes from the Ramayana and Mahabharata adorning the walls. Decorative entails the flower motifs and the more ornamental drawings and designs that adorn the walls. And then portraits, you'll see portraits of Englishmen, Indians, freedom fighters. It's a whole range of different portraits that you see here. Really, really beautiful, and the pigments that they use, they're vegetable and mineral colors, and the vibrancy of those colors even today is remarkable. There are about 750 distinct hand-painted scenes covering 11,200 square meters of wall and ceiling here. If you look carefully enough, you can infer a lot about the then contemporary society, people, their beliefs and rituals. I've thoroughly enjoyed my driving holiday through Rajasthan, and my trip to Dhundlur and Nawalgarh has been particularly memorable. I found the Havelis and the fort absolutely charming, and I've grown to really like driving the Fiat Punto Evo over these trips. It's been such a reliable travel companion, and it combines sturdiness with luxury, sportiness with comfort. It really had everything that I needed to have an enjoyable trip. Thanks so much for joining us today, and see you again next week.